Good evening, board and Superintendent Dr. and on behalf of the service department, I want to thank the board for your continued support and the leadership to guiding us for the district various facility project. And this site section will follow the last board facility site section. We get more information and we will provide update for the discussion we started and also provide some other update. So the first item we were starting the Proposition 39. Proposition 39 is the Clean Energy Act. The state will provide funding for the district. And based on our ADA and the total of the funding for the last 5 years is around $1.4 million. The board authorized us to contract two architect firms, and one is literally DSK. The architects have started the design project, and we are very happy to work with these two architect firms. And on the process of design, we have more things found out, so we want to provide updated information to the board. So I will hand it to the conversation to Larry plus our director. We will provide the most updated information.
Okay, since we last talked about this, what's happened is the two architectural firms have had a chance to review the 4 sites and have found that we have some structural issues that are going to need to be addressed to put the newer, heavier air conditioning units on the roofs. Clifton is the biggest problem, where if they have to do structural improvements at Clifton, it's going to involve abatement of a lot of sealing and asbestos, different materials, which is on your page 2 there, and could give us a cost of somewhere around $500,000. But we still need to do the structural assessment, and because our archive of plans is very limited, it had to request those plans, the original plans from DSA, which is going to take another 2 to 4 weeks to get. Once they get those, they're going to complete the structural assessment, and then at that point we will know for sure if we're going to have to do that kind of abatement at Clifton. So the other 3 schools seem to be okay, but we still need to do the structural review for DSA. So Little and DSK are asking for additional fees to do the structural review, which amounts to about around 20 to 20. The next board meeting?
Yes.
And it's a necessary thing that we have to do, and then at that point we can make a more educated decision on what to do with Clifton.
So with that said, board, when we started this Proposition 39, from my mind, I know that the state allocation will not be enough, so which means that $1.3 million will not be enough to finish all 4 sites, the HVS update. So we set aside the money for the redevelopment agency. With this additional funding, probably the scope of the work will increase and the project cost will increase. But if the board approves the change order for the architect fee, then when we do the actual phase work, then we will come back to discuss more, and we'll get more accurate cost for the total the implementations for project. So any question from?
Well, what we'll get is a set of plans, a stamped set of plans out of DSA.
Yeah.
It's not just, the fees aren't just for the structural review, it's to complete the set of plans through DSA that now includes the structural review.
And those plans, I mean, is it build ready then?
Yeah, it'll be a construction set.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to do that anyways, right? As long as we
have to do it.
eventually.
Yeah, either way.
So what's our limit on change orders without board action?
The public contract code change orders are 10% of the original
I'm not
contract.
talking about public code. I'm talking about Monrovia School District policy. We set a policy of change orders up to a certain amount. Just go ahead and do them. Over that amount required board action.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I know we did that when we did the high school, and I don't remember.
Yeah.
Was that an actual board policy? Because I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I looked at quickly at basically our policy is full of gap
have set one specifically for
Yeah.
Measure M.
But Connie, you're referencing bids, we're talking about bid changes.
Talking about
change
change
order.
order.
Change
Talking
order.
about change
Yeah,
order.
yeah, I did not find any other information,
and I
so
think-
I can dig more.
And I think these are gonna be somewhere in the 20 to 30% range, the original contract.
I don't think so, I think it was $1.
Oh, was it $1 then?
Anything over a certain dollar limit requires board approval.
I agree. How about if we do it this way? How about if we're under that threshold, the board can give you direction to follow through, and if it's not, we can make a motion.
How about if you guys set it up to do that, and if you need board approval, you bring it back on consent next board meeting?
Oh, that works.
Okay, sure. So, shall we discuss the threshold of the board agrees to move back for next May 23rd morning as a consent item for this two change order for the architect service?
Not sure what he meant by that.
Oh, I mean that, do you want us?
By next board meeting, we're not gonna know how many dollars we're talking about for the change order, to do the work.
Oh, the design fees already, we already.
No, we're
did
just,
that.
we're just talking about design fees.
Yeah, design fees already.
Not construction
That's
costs.
what we just said, is
18.
on the next agenda,
Uh-huh.
we can bring back, if you need to, if the threshold is, I mean, so it's 3 sites, so it's a total of $75,000, right?
No, it's 4 sides.
Four sides.
Four
They
sites,
range
right.
anywhere from 20 to 25%.
Percent per $1,000. How many
Dollars.
Dollar amount.
So we're talking somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 worth of change orders.
Correct.
So,
Except
I don't know that's
Clifton,
over.
you're talking about $55,000 worth of design.
Yeah.
20, 22, 20, and 55, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Second page,
Yeah,
so it's not 20 to
Yeah,
25
yeah, you're
per
correct.
site.
right.
So, yeah, it's 55 for Clifton.
Yeah, it's 2,800 for Plymouth, 22 for Santa Fe, 20 for Mayflower, and 500, I mean, 55,000 for.
It's about 115,000. I'm sure that's over our limit.
Yeah.
The 10% limit is, that's construction. I don't know what the other
10%
policy.
limit.
No, I just checked with Larry because the change order have to be within the 10% of the total original awarded project.
Yeah,
So,
That's
yeah.
construction.
But
Yeah.
that's, yeah,
Construction, he says construction. Okay.
but for board approval, it has to be under a certain amount.
So, since
We need to go back and take a look at
yeah,
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna go back and take a look at our ARs, take a look at what we did for,
yeah,
There's a
Bid
chance that they're
thresholds.
not included here.
yeah, I did.
I'm looking at them right now.
Yeah, I looked at the AR right now, the board policy and the AR, I did not find anything, so I just wonder because, right now the project contract is the $15,000 as a bid process, will board agree use this price as $15,000 or you prefer a lower dollar amount or $10,000?
Put together a proposal and bring it to us.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, what, okay,
And just, as far as the HVAC units, this is the most efficient way to go, just replacing them with modern-like units, not any other type of technology out there, boilers or anything like that would be more efficient.
Well, we have to, by Title 24, we have to upgrade to economizing units.
I understand that, but are you talking about replacing apples for apples, or are you talking about looking at other types of technology that's out there for HVAC?
We, both. Give you an example, at Mayflower, they have, if you look at one of the buildings to the left of the office, they have all those split units sitting there. I've asked them to combine it into one split unit, they're called a VRF unit. So we'll have one unit that does multiple classrooms instead of multiple units.
So we are looking at that down the
Oh,
road.
yeah, definitely. And that's just for energy efficiency.
Exactly.
And same with Clifton, if it gets to the point where we need to spend $1 million on Clifton, then we have to go outside the box. And VRF is our second choice to not put air conditioning units back on the roof, to see if we can limit.
To try to do an entire building instead of individual units for
Right.
classrooms.
Right.
I would like to look at that, to see what that,
Yeah, and that's what I've asked them to do in their scope. That we need to look at that second option rather than opening that can of worms.
okay?
you missed synopsis.
You heard most of it right there,
That was
actually.
the synopsis, pretty much right there. It'll cost us $120,000 more in design fee, as TSA's has approved structural set of plans. Sounds good to me.
We'll bring back to next,
Do
board.
it. I'll do the rest. Sounds good to me.
Okay, I will quickly move to the next one. So next one is transportation, and I would like to have a very updated board. We try to reduce our route, and what is the result?
Well, the last thing that was asked of me by the board was to look at the possibility of going 4 routes instead of 5, which would eliminate the purchase of the 5th bus. So we did that, and the charts here kind of represent what happens when we do that. The one on the left shows that our seating capacity right now is 617 in the K to 2nd grade size, and 406 in the 3rd to 12th grade size. And our wheelchair capacity is 2 and 1 respectively. If I go to 4 buses, it drops down to 554 K to 12 and 375 in the 3rd K. It really hurts. It cuts down our capacity a lot. And our wheelchair spots goes from 9 with the new buses, so it does go up because the new buses have wheelchair spots in the K to 2nd and down to 8 on the 3rd to 12th. The last box on the bottom is if I include that 5th bus back in, we increase to 636 over our current 617 K to 2nd, and we increase to 427 in our 3rd to 12th over our 406. I think we need to keep all 5 large buses because we just cut our capacity too much. And in addition to that, when we do our in-house field trips, we generally have all 7 buses out, and all drivers, usually even the mechanic and our lead are driving. And that's frequent. Like today we had field trips, but today we only had 2 buses out. So it varies, but we have the capacity right now to handle almost all of our in-house field trips. Whereas if we lose 1 bus, we're going to have to start using a lead more, lead transportation. So that just gets us back to if we want to move forward with the bus purchase, the top scenario. The bottom one is what we have now, and the top one would be with 7 new buses.
And he leads about $500 a day for the days we would need them for per bus.
Per bus, yeah.
Field trips.
$500 a day or for 3 hours?
It's for, I think it's for 4 hours, and then they have a per hour rate after that, and per mile.
That's wet, that's everything.
How often do we
Yeah.
need 7 buses to go over 4 hours?
It's really not, I mean, it's more about, we're gonna lose so much capacity, even for,
To me, it's, I mean, if we lose capacity, that means we're gonna have to look at other ways to get kids to school.
And if you lease for
Change
4 hours,
boundaries, whatnot.
can you
Yeah.
split it? It's 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and let you split the day?
no, it's a,
It's a block.
yeah.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part, yeah. Well, no, I mean, we're not talking about using those for
For every.
to and from school. We're just talking about the
Field-
seat
field
capacity
trip.
for
Oh,
field
just
trips.
for that. Oh, you
Yeah.
were talking about that. I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
I mean, the other, this lost seat capacity would have to do something to change the amount of students we're transporting.
And it's also gonna affect our ability to
Because-
to do the HEMT work though, because then those
What's the
kids
HEMT
that were, well, the way the plan works without impacting the general fund is to eliminate HEMT. If we eliminate that 5th bus, we're gonna have a really hard time picking up all HEMT, because now some of those kids are gonna overflow into one of the larger buses. So this is designed around taking over HEMT, saving that 200,000, and then making the lease payment with that money.
I think its cost right now is $175,000 to us.
The Yeah,
Yeah,
and so,
maternity.
do they do increases?
Yes, they haven't, this year's contract is around 175, and I have not get information from him. 2 years ago, we direct contract Hammond, and I realized personnel cost is much higher by joining to merge. So right now, I join the merge. We use the Hammond transportation service, but we are not direct contractor with Hammond. We contract with merge in order to decrease our cost. But I have not received the quote for next year, and practically they will increase every year.
So the city doesn't provide transportation for their kids.
No.
Yeah.
And again, what's our impact if we don't?
The one impact I can think about, just possibility we lose the student.
Yep, so what's that
Yeah.
equate to? How many do you think we'd lose? And what's the bottom line impact?
Yeah, I would need to do more research.
We talked
Yeah.
about that, right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not asked for that information.
Because one student right now is over $9,000 per ADA. Starting next year, the state is fully funded as the gap is went away. So we will expect $9,000 per student.
Connie, do we have a way to figure out what percentage of our population that might impact?
We will try, we definitely will try.
And we provide transportation for 491 students right now. Is that what that tells me?
Right.
10%.
Is it 400 or?
On average.
On average? Okay. I thought it was a little more.
10% of our enrollment.
Yeah.
Almost.
So,
That's the
enrollment today.
max.
What's our enrollment gonna be 10 years from now? We keep losing students.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
be-
I mean, roster count is what we're providing transportation for right now, right? That's not the capacity. That's what we're providing transportation for.
Right.
That's true. The other two option I can think about is Larry and I will continue looking for all the available grant we can apply. So that's the option one. And the other thing is option two is I'm not quite sure this will help us or not. Some other district, they starting charging the transportation fee for those paid students. Because we cannot, it is district obligation to provide free transportation for those students in kind of free use meal. But we can charge those students who are not in the certain category.
The one thing we don't know though,
Yeah.
I asked for Ken's free and reduced percentages, and he's right around 47% free and reduced. I don't know how much free and how much reduced, but if the cost section and the busing is the same, I'm not sure how it will work. That would take a lot more.
What do you mean because we're only charging those paid students, not the free use meal?
No, I know, but if 40% of the 500 kids that ride the bus now are free and reduced.
So you want to know amount, right now, our district-wide free reduce is around 60. Okay, so yeah, we will have to give more for all of this, around 500 students, how much students belong to the paid students there, so that we can calculate how much we pay. But
Didn't we
again,
do that before? Didn't we do that before? Determine what percentage of bus riders were free and reduced? Yeah, do you remember just ballpark off the top of your head?
No, I don't.
I don't either. I remember we did it, but I don't remember. So you think it was pretty similar to the normal breakout of the rest of the district? Okay.
So I don't know what kind of income that would really generate with 100 or 200 students paying something.
David, that probably before my time, we can probably take a look if you have time.
Trying to remember how we cross-reference bus riders with free reduced, the way we did it.
I don't remember either. I remember we did it, but
I don't think it was
we
made
did
like
it.
it was.
I 250 kids or 200 kids, because we don't provide transportation, at, you know, 9,000 per kid, it may cost us more to do that than to do away with the program.
And
But
I
I don't
remember
know.
we did that study too,
Yeah.
right? And I don't remember the parameters
8
that
years
we
ago.
used. Yeah, if anything, and the number of students we've lost will go down because, I mean, they're part of that declining population as well.
Is it worth asking for that? If we do away with the transportation, what does it save us, and what's the potential loss in enrollment, and that loss of revenue, loss of ADA? How does that balance out? Is it worth? I'm asking you guys. Is it worth asking for that information?
I think that it's a fair question to ask. I mean,
If it's not like a month's worth of data analysis.
well, that's what I was thinking. If we've done it at least once, so I'm hoping we had the initial legwork as far as formulas or the way to do it.
Is that a huge amount of data analysis, David?
I don't think so. So,
I mean, it's a bucket. It's 2 or 3 buckets of figures. You know?
right, I think the savings of outright transportation should be pretty straightforward to look at.
I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just asking a question. I'm not trying to stir up, you know, a hornet's nest in the community.
This
right?
question comes up every 3 or 4 years,
Periodically.
whether we should or should not be providing busing. I mean, there's a portion that we have to do, and if we were to completely outsource that, what is that dollar
I
amount?
mean, obviously there are 3 districts in our area who don't provide transportation.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh.
2 of them are La Cañada and San Marino.
All right, well, let's frame the question so that they know exactly what they're looking for. If we were to get rid of all of our busing, all of it, and contract out
Only what
for
we're required.
for the mandatory stuff
And field trips.
and field trips and everything else, what would that cost be? I'm not sure if we've done that or
Wait a
not,
minute.
but, right?
Well, no, because I don't think so, Ryan. I shouldn't say no, I don't think so, because when you throw field trips in there, the question is, it's a different question to me, because that deals with replacing buses we own with buses that cost us $500 for a trip. That's a different, I mean, then you add a complexity to the analysis that,
How often, let's go the other way around, because, you know, in my mind, the big benefit to getting rid of all of the buses, or not just the buses, but everything that's attached to it, right? All of the HR, all of the insurance, all of the liabilities that go with this. So if we're gonna get rid of it, then I'm saying that's one extreme. One extreme is we got rid of everything. What would it cost us? So Ed's question is a legitimate question. So we know what our mandatories are. We can quantify what we have to provide busing for, so we can probably come up with a dollar amount what that would be.
Which would include athletic transportation.
Then we have the variable factor, which is field trips and other school events, right?
How many field trips do we have a year? 20? 20? I don't
No,
know.
not more than
Per
that.
side.
But we do sporting every week.
And who
No.
pays,
Oh, yeah.
who in general pays for all of that busing? The school side or the district?
Well, at Monrovia High School for athletic events,
I know, they-
ASB
they-
pays for transportation, or at least they did in the past.
Okay.
And the PTA pays for
So then what we wanna say is, from the district side, how much would we have to replace, dollar-wise, if we got rid of all the busing? So as far as the student population and parents were concerned, status quo, right? So what's the dollar impact from that? What would we have to kick in? So that's obviously gonna take out of our savings to contract out these services.
that's still not my question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
regular ed students, it's very straightforward, you just say that's gone, goes on the same. Special ed filters is a little complicated because they're doing speculation on this, like how much do we think it might cost? How much we can pay for it. It's a
Okay.
little more complicated on that.
Ed, what was your
Cost.
My question is, if we buy 6 buses instead of 7, or 5 instead of 0, or whatever, 1 less bus, or 2 less buses, and we change the criteria for who we're picking up, that doesn't change field trips, but if we're changing morning and evening, how many students we're carrying, how much does that save us or cost us, or, I mean, do we need to replace every bus? Because when we replace every bus, we lock ourselves into this capacity for the next 20 years.
Actually, that was my question. Do we, if we wanted to release 2 of the buses because of our enrollment or need or whatever,
Right.
could we release or could we get out of this lease, out of a couple of these, the buses and stop?
Like 5 years from now.
2 years from now.
I don't know, I would have to find out.
But, I mean, that gives you a fail-safe, allowing for that.
Because I think what we're being asked to do here is to buy enough buses to maintain the current capacity for the next 20 years.
Which is not.
And my question is, that's smart or not? And I'm afraid I still don't have enough data to say that's the smart thing to do. Maybe it's only a capacity of, 6, or whatever, 554 instead of 636. Maybe if half our rides are free and reduced, maybe it's just to transport them. I mean, we have ways of limiting the number of people we're transporting. But right now, I still don't have enough information to say, yeah, we need to replace the whole capacity, or we need to change some policy and reduce the capacity we're hauling right now, and what we go forward into the future with. Because if this trend continues, we're gonna need less and less capacity.
If we were to withdraw our school boundaries, it might impact
Even more.
and reduce that.
And I know Larry's got some quotes, and we got some real good opportunities right now, but do we wanna replace and keep the capacity we have now, or replace enough to get by until we do that study?
So one of the questions that begs is, although we've been having a reduction in our overall attendance, is it 1-to-1 with the buses?
Yeah.
And just because our population is
That's
dropping,
right.
that doesn't mean
That's
our
right.
bus
That's right.
population
Right.
is dropping. Is it, or maybe it's accelerated, I don't know.
Right, what's the declining enrollment in the bus population?
Relative to the bus population, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good to have, 'cause that's
We
kinda
should
interesting.
have that, because we would have ridership information from
Yeah.
every year, right?
If we look at the best scenario is 2 years ago, our decline 200, so we can compare the bus line, the normal students bus line, so it's 200 students become will that impact the number of students who ride our bus, so that was.
Because if our bus ridership is not going down as our population is going down, then that's a different
Which
story
would seem-
completely.
Which would seem odd, especially with gentrification and matriculation, I mean, kids
That's
moving on.
what I'm
you know.
thinking.
Or it could be the complete opposite, that we're losing twice as many bus riders for the ADA. I don't know, but I think it's a good question to.
I mean, how much
help
does
frame the argument.
matriculation affect transportation? Have we ever looked at that over the years?
I'm sorry, say
How
again.
how does matriculation affect transportation ridership? As far as, well, we've got 200 elementary kids this year,
Yeah.
well, in 5 years, they're in
Yeah.
middle school.
Yeah.
In 8 years, they're in high school.
I don't think
transport
there's
them.
major jobs because of the time, otherwise we would have this one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
articulated here that it's dropped over the states. It hasn't dropped substantially.
And we get that in one of the Friday updates, or?
Yeah, in The other things that we would like to share with remind the board is the other moving trigger we are thinking about changing bus is our 5 CNG tank bus is kind of on the end of their life. Is that right, Larry?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we're just on borrowed time.
Yeah.
The 5 need to be replaced if we're gonna
Yeah.
maintain capacity.
And the other thing is we are out of compliance with state law right now because I've been waiting to figure out what we're gonna do with these things, but I can't hold up a whole lot longer. We are supposed to have the child check the safety systems in them now, and they're not. So I need to invest about $5 grand a bus if this is gonna keep going. I can't. You know, probably won't get our. I know we won't get our 292 our certification to operate from CHP without it next year.
How easy is it to add another bus to the order? I mean, if we know we have to replace 5, and we put it in order for 5, this is assuming we didn't go the 0 route, and we did 5, would it be difficult to amend that to 6 or to 7 buses 2 months from now once we get
Oh, no.
through this work?
Are we talking about buying 7 or are we talking about buying?
There's a-
Well, the original 7 was with the assumption that we would take over Hemet. If we just replace the CNGs, we would not take over Hemet. We'd leave them status quo.
For right now.
For right now, get the 5 buses, and yeah, it doesn't really have any effect other than we would take over Hemet right now.
Okay, so maybe the immediate question is, do we get the 5 or do we go to 0,
Right,
right?
that's the two,
Does that
that's. the two
sound like a
extremes.
fair
Yeah,
starting point?
yeah.
Okay, so what does the board want or need to make that decision? Because I know we're talking about a lot of
I need
things.
to tweak that so that we understand. We're not talking about going to 0, we're going to talk down to what's mandatory.
No, contract out. Get rid of everything down to 0.
Yeah, what's the far extreme, Ed, if we go to 0 and we contract out for what's mandatory?
Because, you know, with every bus we reduce, our economies of scale get
Just
worse.
to know the extreme.
Right? I mean, because we have to pay a mechanic regardless, and a driver regardless. So I'd rather just, we're gonna drop it down to 1 bus, man, that's gonna be expensive, I think.
Yeah, and you also have to understand that every neighboring district is chartering these same bus companies also for their stuff, so it doesn't mean we're gonna be able to get those buses.
No, I agree, this is why we're throwing this out there, right? So we have a definitive answer. If the answer comes back and we have 0 buses, this is what the cost is gonna be, then we have something to shoot against and say, yes or no. And if we say, no, that's not the way to go, then we could say, do 5 now, because we know those have to be replaced, and that'll give us another month or 2 or 3 to determine whether we need the 6 or 7, based on all the other stuff. If it's not gonna have a financial impact, why not? Why not take the time? Is that,
Sounds fair.
Work for you.
see? So the question, I guess the board needs to ask itself and then you, is what information do we need to make a determination whether we want 0 buses or not?
What's the bottom line if we go 0?
And I suggest that we just have Brian work with David and Larry to come up with a reasonable method to do the cost estimates.
Yeah, that's really, Mr. Wong.
Cost estimates.
All the paper Brian doing that.
Wow, this sounds so familiar.
Really?
Sounds really familiar.
Vote again?
That's an off joke, there. That's a good one, Andy. Do we vote again? Brian.
Is that, okay,
all
is
right.
that enough information to
Yeah,
move
okay.
forward?
Yeah, and if
So
Brian
what-
works with you guys to do that estimate, I promise not to require more
We can answer the question.
on
Yeah.
my part.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Require, we'll go back and do one more iteration.
Yeah.
Let's nail this sucker down.
Yeah, we need to make a decision. by
We
the
need to nail it down. Well, if we
Within the
can.
Yeah.
And will it help if the lease was cancelable?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that would make a
Find that
difference,
piece out too.
yes.
Cancelable or, well, per bus or modifiable.
Yeah.
clause, non-appropriations clause.
Yeah,
So if it cannot be funded, there's an outland clause.
I'll find out particular release term.
And then in this week's update, we'll provide information for the decline movement impacts and the monster light. Okay, so any question on transportation?
Not asking any more questions.
Transportation
Yeah.
issues.
We got plenty down the road.
But hopefully we can at least make a decision on these 5 buses.
Yeah.
That would be great.
That would be really nice, yes.
So we talk about the facility master plan, or, Mr. President, do we have time to talk about the facility master plan?
Is that on the agenda, Dr. Teresa?
Yeah, that's the agenda we have.
Well, it's not on the agenda, but we were talking facilities.
Yeah,
not
it's
necessarily
if it's
facilities
brief.
addition.
No,
we gotta
Yeah.
put
And that
It's not
certainly
in there.
impacts the decisions we make on the other things, so.
Well, if your staff isn't ready to
That's not
prepare
this
to
time.
give the thing, then we probably should. What else you got?
How much time will they allow?
I think that this one probably just, I think 5 minutes.
Did everyone look at the stuff that Gary sent out, or Tony
Yeah.
sent out on the bids we got back on the facility master plan?
Yeah, yeah.
If everybody's familiar with that, then it shouldn't take too long, although it is straightforward.
Thank you, Ms. Wu.
Yeah,
I'm
so,
not telling.
facility master plan, as the board know that we haven't talked about this for a while. So, we're at the point we need to make decision because, we need to allocate the minimum resource we have right now to set a priority for the various projects. So, facility master plan will be our guideline roadmap for the future. Initially, we talked about, we give the board an estimate for the total cost of around $200,000. And Larry was able to talk to architect firm who is interested in this project. Actually, it's the previous architect firm we used before, and they are willing to break down the different modules so we're going to pick up the module we would like to have. So Larry, you want to take over from now?
I knew it. I brought it. So, the architect is NAC, which used to be Osborne, which now is bought by somebody else. But,
Pretty good, Larry.
thank you.
You're welcome.
But, in a nutshell, what I asked him to do in his proposal was to break it down into modules so that we could pick the modules that we thought were most important to us and give us a cost for that module. I made a recommendation via email.
Those are 3 of the modules, are we?
Yeah, that we do the total, but we did all the modules of 288,000, but I think some of them we just don't need to do right now, like the public polling and all that stuff. But the facilities assessment module, which is something that would give us an idea of what we need to do in major repairs. The demographic study, which would give us an indicator of what's happening with our enrollment. And the cost estimating module, which is putting a number to all the things that they identify in facilities assessment. So those 3 modules is $94,340.
I have a question on the demographic module. Is that module going to be acceptable for the vote partitioning of the district? Right? Because don't we have to divide the district up into,
Yeah.
will that module be acceptable? Because I think we're under the gun on that.
It's different.
What exactly, how do they do
Yeah,
their
very
demographics?
serious.
Depends on the
Yeah.
parameters.
Yeah. Yeah,
CT
they
has
give
it.
you-
Think so?
I think so.
Well,
But
I'm not
they're
sure
not
that's
gonna-
why I'm asking.
Because they're not gonna look at demographics by election, they're gonna look at demographics by the other things.
I'm hoping they do that as a sideline and it's only gonna cost us an extra $50.
Yeah.
But I can get clarification on what that scope includes.
I'll go up to 100.
Or do they just look at our enrollment figures over the last few years?
I know he does address it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Chip in.
$10 a piece.
Rob's not here, he'd come.
All in favor?
4-0.
5.
include busing routes too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what he says here, a study will look at where students are now and where they are likely to be over time. This gives us an opportunity to plan for the future and right-sizing schools, to create more efficient.
It's only where
Buses
students
actually
are.
helps,
It's only where
transfer-
students are. It doesn't help with the voter.
No, but that helps in determining the
bus
matriculation for transportation.
Except for that's
Yeah.
gonna take a year.
I know.
And we won't have any buses running at that time.
That's the
much-
exact
Yeah.
survey we need to
How
have
much
for
do they want
transportation.
for that module?
That one is 30,000. It also looks at analyzing the data to identify any causes of enrollment shifts and trends, and it will feed the planning efforts to best accommodate the district. I mean, I just kind of summarized it there, but
What were
Well,
the
my
three-
point would be, if we're making a determination on the buses already, that portion of the module is not gonna be required.
Exactly.
Because we'll have 5 buses or we're gonna have no buses,
You don't need
so
it. You don't
we're not
need
gonna
it.
need that piece in
If it's a year from now to get that information, that demographic study
Exactly.
is useless.
What,
Decisions
what were your,
made.
what were your recommendations? What 3 modules?
facilities assessment, demographic, and cost estimating. Now, he has, there's a couple others that, one of them is required, I don't know if we have it, but we're required to have an ADA transition plan. Even if we don't do the work, can't fund the work, we're supposed to have that plan in place.
How much do they want for that one?
38,000.
So we could do that instead of the demographics.
And then the educational specifications, which kind of updates what, there's a whole paragraph there about that stuff. And then this one here I also think is important, the funding analysis. He goes through what grants, funds, and programs are available or are coming up that would benefit our district.
I don't, yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, right.
Because that's, they're not, unless they're writing the grants, I'm
Well-
uninterested, because,
No, because they're gonna identify, oh, look, you can apply for all these things, that's gonna be 700 hours. Have fun.
yeah, and then who's putting in the $700? Because we do,
Energy grants and you got all
we
those different
receive
things.
many.
I think we find a lot of grants on our own. I don't know that we need to pay $40,000 for somebody to tell us things that we do already.
It's
and
something
not
that we could
provide
look
the
into in the
man-hours.
future is what I would recommend.
Okay.
We could always add on.
So Larry, do we, I
Facility
mean, from
assessment.
your standpoint, do we need the demographic study? Why do we need the demographics? You
Well,
recommended it.
so when I talked to him originally, I told him we needed to find out why our enrollment is declining. I know everyone uses summarized why it is, but so that was the whole premise. Now, when it says here busing, I need to get clarification on that myself. It was more about where are the students going and why are they not here than the busing thing.
With all of the research and discussion that's been going on for years about why do we have declining enrollment, not just Monrovia, but all over, and no one has that answer, I don't anticipate that survey is gonna give us that answer.
I agree.
They're not smarter than everybody else. Or
So
they
if
would, or
we-
they would have that information public. My opinion.
So if we ask them for the ADA, the facility assessment, and the cost estimates, what are we looking at for those 3 items?
You're looking at, so the ADA was,
So while you're looking at that, my question on the ADA was, you didn't have it in the original recommendation. Why not?
because originally Rob wanted to stay around 100 to 125,000. So I picked the 3 that it seemed there was consensus that was.
So it was
amongst
a
the
dollar
board.
amount, not the scope of work that you didn't like.
Correct. It was mostly the facilities assessment and the cost estimating that seemed to be the focus
But
for going out for a bond.
Due to the fact that ADA is gonna be required,
It's part of our costs that are coming up.
why would that be separated out? That's always gonna be required when you have to do it. Why is that not included in that facilities assessment?
Because the assessment assesses what's there.
Why should it not take into account because
Oh, there.
because the ADA is not there, it's gonna have to be there? Why isn't that present?
Because they
Should
broke
be-
it out as a separate
It
module.
should never
102.
be broken out. It's required. You should be able to look at a facility and say, that's not ADA compliant, that's part of the facilities assessment.
And again, I didn't add, I don't know, this was a requirement several years ago, and I don't know if we have it.
I mean, that's,
That absolutely makes
We do
sense to
for
me.
some
it makes
sites
sense to
and don't.
me. Why would a company break it out?
Yeah,
We
we
have
do
to
for
do
some
it.
of them, well, we should, we don't know what we do.
So those three modules will be 102,000.
I'm definitely good with the first two. The ADA want a clarification, because Chris's question is legitimate. If you're doing an assessment of my building and I'm deficient, you would tell me you're deficient. You need a ramp.
You need a lift.
You need whatever. And then our second module says, that ramp's gonna cost you $20,000. So if I have those two things, why do I need the ADA?
Well, the facilities assessment does not address ADA. It addresses
But that's-
roofing, infrastructure, electrical panels, plumbing. That's what that one does. It tells you where you are in deferred maintenance, painting, dry rot, all those things.
Sewer system, water system.
Right.
That's such a
All that kind of
racket.
stuff.
That's a racket.
So it doesn't address anything that you are not in
The
compliance with?
facilities assessment would
No.
not address
Generally, no.
legally required.
I got a feeling they can tell you why.
I would think that would be the main reason people have these done, is to find out what you're not in
Some people
compliance
wouldn't
with.
care.
Some people wouldn't care.
They wouldn't
Right?
care enough.
Some people already have it, so why do it again?
Right.
That's what I was wondering, maybe if it required several years ago, I was afraid to do that.
The requirements for ADA haven't changed. So if you did it 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it's still all you
Well,
have
we
to
must
do.
have done it when we did our bond issue.
We would have done it.
I would think we have it for most sites, but
Right?
We had two bond issues, one for the entire district and one for the high school.
I know the high school has it.
But the big one, yeah, the overall one, that was a while ago. That was
Yeah.
probably pre-Bush.
96, yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, he's the one who put all this stuff in.
But even since then, if it was done in the 60s, ADA's changed.
It would have
A
been
lot since
60s,
then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Most likely would have been done in 96.
96, yeah,
No,
which
it's-
ADA hasn't changed.
That's 20.
There are some
22.
changes, but not many.
You know what, why don't we ask him?
Yeah, let's ask him.
Changes since 90, and was the whole district done?
Yes.
Well, we did work at every site, and I don't know how we would do work at every site and not provide that for
To be compliant.
the state architect.
The bond measure in 96 was district-wide. The one in 2008 was
High school
high
specific.
school specific.
But
Yeah,
having
between
it
the two of
done
them,
and
we've
finding
worked on
it
every site.
are two different things, so, good luck.
Yeah, right, that's the problem. Where are they at now?
Okay, where are we now?
So, can we put an
Yeah.
item on our agenda for our next meeting to approve a facility master plan contract? And then
Assessment contract.
discuss what they say the reason is, so we can decide which modules at that meeting?
Okay.
Then we'll move forward.
And articulate the
Then we can,
resources that
then
it's
we
coming
can get
from.
this master plan moving.
We should have another
Get
audience.
it moving forward.
Yeah.
And the year was to do a total thing. For just certain modules, it's gonna be a lot less time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
maybe you can find that information out.
Perfect.
So,
by the time it's all done, we may wanna add some of the other future
I mean, if it's only gonna take 4 months for all 3 modules
I
or
got a
2
feeling we're not gonna be
modules,
ready for that.
Okay.
I still don't think it's gonna get done. before we
Moving
make a
forward
decision
to,
on buses, but.
No.
Adjourn?
Oh.
Okay, yeah, I have
It's got-
2 items, I'll let you guys tell me what to do on the MHS parking lot things and then Kafka. So let me know if you want to
What was the
discuss
second-
next
what
time.
was the
It's, Kafka is called
Oh.
California Uniform Public Construction Accounting Act.
Yeah.
So let me know what you think.
Is that happening right now?
Rob,
What
no,
time is this?
Rob,
supposed to be
we
done?
gotta go, we got so much going on. Rob will be back the next meeting anyway, so that'll be timing.
So you wanna do it as a study session, or you wanna do it as an agenda item?
I'd rather do as an agenda.
Ultimately, Cupca's gonna need an action if we decide to do it.
But the parking, we
Yeah.
wanna do that.
I'd like to do that next time as well.
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah,
still-
but
So we're talking
session
study?
or an agenda item.
I'd rather have everybody see it, hear it, vote on it, get it done.
All right, that's 4-0. Will we be prepared to vote on the park? Yeah, we should be.
See where it goes.
Assuming we have the.
We can always postpone it if we need more info.
Well, the one, yeah, there's a couple of pieces of information, if we don't have it, can we?
Tell them now.
Well, what you have is the final assessment from, not that one. Yeah, this one, from the company that we hired to do it, so.
Let's take a look at it.
So they're not gonna
One
provide any
piece of
more information unless we
information.
ask for it.
One piece of information we absolutely have to have is what is the bottom line for fellowship, because we need to know if doing this is going to cause them to pull out of Monrovia High School. So we need to know what their bottom line is, or how many spaces they have to have for parking.
And how much are they paying, more
Because
importantly?
there's a 1,000 churches within 2-hour drive of here
I would
that
speculate.
have very little to no parking.
I would
They all park on the street.
And I would speculate that we would not be able to provide sufficient parking for them.
Like I say, there's 1,000 churches we could drive to in 2 hours that don't have over 50 spaces.
Especially
that are
since we
parked
don't have,
all over
won't
the
have
streets.
parking in the front of the school.
Yeah.
I,
But, you know, does that mean, okay, you guys have to park on the street and walk in? Does that mean they're gonna actively start looking to move?
But if they have 500 or 600 vehicles there every week, we can't provide adequate parking for that anyway.
We can provide
Let's talk to
adequate parking.
Patrick.
I don't think we have to provide parking for every person that comes there.
We don't.
The question is, at what point is the parking so small that they're gonna say, we're losing congregation and we have to move?
So one information for you, I did check with Patrick. Patrick and check with the custodian at high school, say that for the fellowship of Monrovia, right now is, they need 50 space from east side and the west side is 25.
I don't care what they need right now. I wanna know what their bottom line is. If we eliminate 150 spaces, will they start looking somewhere else, or will they just say
How many
they're gonna
spaces
park
do
on
we
the streets?
Okay, got it.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not looking to, I'm not,
I think at this point, we're just asking them to get us information, so,
375 in the front.
No, it seems like 100.
And how much are they paying?
and the other thing that I need to know
Let
is
them
from the
focus on
site,
money part.
when you look at each one of those parking blocks that this contractor blocked out, we could use this, we could make this many spaces here. Is the configuration and the data that they use, is that gonna work with the high school program?
Is that information not in this packet what we currently have?
You know,
No,
and
I only
I
asked them
think-
to give me where we could add.
We should have what we currently have on a regular basis and what the overflow is to that too. If it's 75 out front, that's an overflow.
Actually, he mapped it so I can just count them.
Okay.
It's mapped.
Well, as far as totals,
Yeah.
Current
I
totals
think
is
our
something-
last study is probably still good.
Current totals is what we'll provide in this result.
Yeah, okay.
And I did, Patrick's gonna count cars, I asked him to count cars on Sunday.
But I
Just to see what he's
still
got.
wanna make sure that the softball coach looked at what their proposal was for the softball field
Right.
and what the alternative is for that, and
So you're gonna have
baseball
a
coach looked
sign
at
off from
the
Kurt
baseball
on all,
Yeah.
layout
relative
that they
groups.
proposed there, and, yeah,
We'll look
Today.
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
we can
We'll
talk
look
about
at that.
number of generalities, but
Yeah.
this guy specifically said, okay, we could block this much out, that would be that many spaces, that would be that much cost. But as the coach said, oh my God.
Well, I already did that.
Okay, we're gonna adjourn the Board of Education study session at 6:03, converting the regular Board of Education open session at 6:05. Call to order. Any public comments? Thank you. Would like to convene the Board of Education closed session at 6:06. Okay.
we just like 3 minutes like that.
If I look at the maps.
I don't think you can talk any faster.
You know what, you
have mics that
Oh,
they
God.
give to people.
Yeah.
Can we get one of those for
Don't
our singer?
know.
For at least our one singer?
I don't know. Let me see. I have no idea. Oh my god. Let me find Shoshana and ask her.
And this is the one that without the without the.
No. I don't know if we have something. Just one of them.
Well, yeah, we have a one with the singing and without the singing. I don't know which one you got. Which one is
She put it on. So whatever's on that CD, let me, where is our? Used to.
what? He has one of these, and sometimes if I turn off the Bluetooth and turn it back on, I'm always having to pair up her thing next. So if I can get it to connect right now while we're waiting for people to start, I'd rather just do that. Well, only because I'd like to be able to sit and feel this out here and not have to worry about the iPad getting knocked over or. I'll have the auxiliary port connected anyways. It's still not working, so it doesn't matter. Why? Here's mine. So she wants to try and use her own mics. That means that she's gonna have to pair it to that little
I know, so that I told her, I wish they had.
need mics.
Yeah.
For in this room, I don't feel like they need it, but
No, but I don't think she can.
she doesn't
If
press
I
that.
had the time, we could have. I was taking her and plugged them in.
Yeah.
We could have plugged them. But and honestly, they have mics. They have the mics on the They have wireless mics that they normally sometimes will keep and hold on to, and they will bring out, and they can plug them into the line in the middle. There's a cord, so that's why I said if I know a little bit more. See, anyways, we'll play that. We'll roll that out. Play that. And honestly, we don't need to roll it farther than here. Put it just right here in front of the board.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
we're not gonna.
check out the flag.
I'm gonna give you your certificates.
Does that system still work?
I'm just gonna give you your certificates. Don't call anybody that's not here.
Okay. No, I see them. They're all in they're in the last row.
Those are yours.
I think everybody's here except for we have one person that's going. Okay, all right.
I'm only gonna have one person.
I know. Dorothy's over.
Oh, she told me?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Dorothy's
No,
an angel.
she emailed me this morning, so that's where you only got the one.
Thank you. Do you want me to just leave it here? Or should
Yeah.
I-
No, take it with you.
Okay.
So, because he's gonna ask you to come up. And
Okay. Thank you.
Uh huh. What's wrong? Whose name is wrong?
This one here.
Oh no, I'll take it out.
Okay.
I'll
I'm
take
just
that
gonna
one.
let it look good.
I know, I am too.
That's not mine either.
No, that's not yours either. You know what? We have to figure out who's going to introduce them, and then probably.
Trust me. Trust me.
Not what you guys expect, but it works.
No, no, we can make it. So we need to move. We can do that. That's on.
check. Whenever you're ready. Maybe the microphone works better. Good evening. Forgive our tardiness as we proceeded to take care of the business of the school board. We'd like to recess our closed session at 7:05, and then we'd like to reconvene our Board of Education close at 7:15. Obviously, the meeting is being called to order. You can see the absence of Mr. Hammond, who we just had the opportunity to speak to, and I am happy to say that he is in the state of Florida on his bicycle as we speak. And that's coming from San Diego, California, may I remind you. It is not too late to give to iWriteForYou.com. I'm looking in the audience for the rich friends of mine. I will find you before the end of the session here. But we'd like to move forward with the Pledge of Allegiance from our wonderful elementary school in the likes of Brad Oaks.
Good evening. I am Janie Nichols, the principal of Brad Oaks Elementary, and I am proud to introduce Miss Karina Ammons, a 5th grade GATE student who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As you know, there is a GATE program throughout the whole Monrovia district, but one thing I like about our GATE program is that we do really fun field trips. Like Astro Camp, we saw snow, and at City of Hope, we got to make banana DNA. Lastly, we went to Cal State LA, where I learned I wanted to be a geneticist and robotics engineer. Another fun thing we do at our program is we get to engage with the high school MASA program. They teach us valuable life lessons and intrigue us about amazing scientific discoveries. The last thing I like about our program is that we get to learn about different subjects and that we get to find different ways to solve them. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it would behoove me not to open up this board meeting in honor of Mr. Oliver Kingston Zeman, who was born on Monday, May the 7th. He is the son of Josh and Katie Zeman. May the force be with you. Prayerfully, it's their first one, so Wish him well. During our closed session, we had items that needs further discussion. We did conclude with another item which we will entertain in the later part of our agenda. Moving to item G, the order of business, the board agenda discussions, presentation items, which could include input from the representative. Agendized matters may be moved up at this time. Dr. Terosian, do we have such?
We do, President Williams. We will be moving action item Ls 2 and 3 to follow public comments. This is regarding ASKIP.
So noted. We're at the approved minutes of the regular Board of Education meeting held on April 25th. May I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Recognitions and communications. The Board of Education would like to recognize those individuals in helping contribute to the success of the Monrovia Unified School District and the Monrovia School Foundation, which hosted our chamber on the 18th, which was a wonderful success. I will save my compliments after Dr. Terosian entertained these folks.
I think I'm going to go over to the podium. We had such a wonderful event with co-sponsored with the Monrovia Schools Foundation. We had a Chamber of Commerce mixer here at the district office, and it was extraordinary. The amount of support that the district received and the number of compliments we received, not only for the beautiful artwork, about which we'll hear more later, but also for the food served to our community members. And I'd like to invite our Director of Food Services, Ken Singleton, to speak a little bit more about that.
President of the board members, Dr. Tarosi, cabinet, and fellow Monrovians, Ken Singleton, as she mentioned, I'm the Food Services Director. I have the pleasure of introducing my world-class food and nutrition services team. As I called your name, can you come to the front? Alex Palayo. Thank you, boss. Lourdes Martinez. Rosa Manriquez. Thanks, boss. Alicia Escobar. Me. And Esmeralda Corrales. I'll be brief. I'm serious when I say world-class organization. Many of you know that I left the department last year, and I left for a year, deployed to Honduras, and my team, they just never ceased to surprise me. The operation was so smooth, and when I got back, I thought that my boss was going to tell me that she no longer needed my services because they were able to function without my leadership. But this is just one more event that they outdid themselves, and thank you for your support, and we'll continue to feed our world-class students. Thank you.
Oh, no, wait, there's a photo opportunity, are you kidding? Mr. Singleton, absolutely, and also, where is Miss Battle? She too should be up here. This is for the entire chamber, but you ate, right? I respect that. Where's Yes, and Shannon's, yep.
Ann Battle, I have yours right here for contributing to the success of the event. You did a remarkable job. We also have one for Miss Shannon Fitzpatrick, who is our resident artist in residence. Miss Fitzpatrick. If there is another Shannon Fitzpatrick in the audience, okay, then it is you. Yeah, I thought maybe I was confused. What's next?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Singleton's crew are experts. They're awesome. I consider them friends. When I come to the office, I'm looking forward to just having some dialogue with them. So forgive me, Ken, when I take 10, 20 minutes of your time with your staff. But you guys are awesome. Some of the best cooks besides King Singleton. But thank you. Next, we'll move to our board reports. I understand we're going to be hearing from Mr. Gilliland.
Just a couple of items, Mr. President. Mr. Williams and I were at Brad Oaks just, well, let me see, it just seems like the other night.
Yeah.
And I want to just say thanks and great job by the staff over there, the parents, the PTA. MHS band was there, we're playing. It was a wonderful evening. Weather-wise, it was like a community event out there on the quad. Just such a great job by the students in all the work we got to see inside the classroom. So everybody that was involved in that open house at Brad Oaks, just a job well done. The other thing I want to mention is not quite as upbeat. I'm a member of the Los Angeles County School Trustees Association. We had a meeting last week and heard from one of the representatives from the California School Board Association discussing a new initiative that the California School Board Association is seriously taking up. We've talked about it at this podium many times, and that's school funding. Adequate, equitable school funding. We haven't seen it in this state for many, many, many years. Some numbers were put out I want to get out to the public. The average state in the United States of America spends 3.3% of their gross domestic product. 3.3% of the worth of that state goes into the education system. That's the average state. That isn't even the high states. California spends 2.7% of our gross domestic product. Depending on which study you read, we're somewhere between 43rd and 48th in per pupils funding. It's a travesty because our legislators and media continue to say, oh, schools are fully funded, and all they mean is that the Prop 39 guarantee, when we, the voters of California, passed a proposition saying you have to fund the schools at least at this rate. It was you have to fund them at least this rate, not this is the maximum you can fund them, or this is full funding. That's the funding that has to be guaranteed no matter what the economic status of the state is, unless there's a real dire emergency. When they fund us to that minimum rate, they say, oh, we're fully funding schools. And yet, the governor, for the last umpteen years, last at least 3 or 4, have sequestered some of that money and say, oh, we know we said we're giving it to you, it's your money, it's for this year, but we're going to hold, and I think from this district, they're holding, what now, $2 million? And they give it to give that to us as one-time money, and they give it to us late. So we on this board have passed a resolution back in March saying that we're joining with the California School Board Association, calling for the legislature to fully fund our schools, to fund them at a level that California should be funding our schools at. Because when they don't spend it on schools, ultimately down the road we're going to spend it on prison, psychiatric, and all the other things that we have to spend it on. So we're making a really, really strong push to our legislatures to start fully funding our schools in this state. And so we heard about that and a couple other things. It was a good meeting, but really we all kind of left there saying, man, we've got to do a better job. So.
Well said. I'd like to acknowledge this outstanding week where we celebrate the Teachers' Appreciation. Most of you guys are classroom educators, role models, mentors, heroes, stepmoms, stepdads. And I just want to commend you on behalf of the entire board. Obviously, the teachers are the pulse of our district. And so it would behoove me not to say anything about you outstanding teachers who are some of our friends and, of course, our students' leaders that help mold them. So thank you for that. Moving forward, we'll have our report from our students.
ASB will be having a teacher luncheon in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, Thursday, May 10th. On May 25th, we will be having our last rally of the school year. And senior checkout and grad night will be on May 31st. SAT testing will be on June 2nd. Senior breakfast and graduation will be on June 6th. And our ACT testing will be on June 9th.
Thank you for that report. Dr. Terosian?
Thank you. I'd like to invite Principal Kirk McGinnis of Monrovia High School assist me in this report. And it's not on the agenda, but it is to recognize an extraordinary educator, somebody who has given so much of his life and passion to assisting our students and who is being recognized nationally by the Renaissance Hall of Fame, inducted into the Renaissance Hall of Fame in July in Florida. I'm not sure that Florida is where I want to be in the heat of summer, but I'm sure they mean it as a compliment. And I just am so proud to say that Paul Dawes is a teacher in the Monrovia Unified School District.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and this is a man that needs no introduction on our campus and perhaps in our community, but this is Mr. Paul Dawes, and he is our Renaissance coordinator and teacher on our campus. And he touches the lives of so many people, and it is an honor and a privilege for us at the high school to spend the day with him, have the opportunity to see him connect with our families, connect with our staff members, and to really shape a culture of compassion, a culture of love, a culture of dedication, and a culture of celebration. And we're excited to see our young students here performing, and we're excited to see the anticipation, the excitement of our kids coming and wanting to participate in our programs at the high school as they grow up and matriculate. And it's because dedicated people like this and kids like in the Renaissance students that are here this evening that are in that program that create a sense of synergy in our campus and have made an impact in our community. So much so that the Renaissance Foundation, which is a national organization, recognized this man as their inductee to the Hall of Fame, the National Hall of Fame in the whole entire nation. Yes, that's national, the whole entire nation. Right here in our green and white hall is Mr. Paul Dawes. So it is with great honor and privilege that we celebrate you and thank you for your dedication to our students and our district as a whole. So Paul Dawes, congratulations. He is a man of many words, but he's declining to speak tonight because we have kids that are performing. So on a separate note, I just want to acknowledge that I'm not modeling our new dress code attire for staff at the high school, but I do want to acknowledge our high school PTSA. Today they celebrated us as a staff. And we had a luau theme, and so our staff was bedecked in Hawaiian garb. But he put on a tie, so he upstaged me tonight, so even better. So, right. So, Mr. Paul Dawes, congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a screen behind us that we thought was appropriate to share with those attending in front of us, but it is somewhat of an inconvenience for some of our left shoulders. I'm not calling no name out, but it is an inconvenience for some of us, so thank you, Shoshana, for making that happen for us. Moving to the public comments.
We have one more.
Oh, forgive me. Wild Rose Elementary Drummer Club is coming.
Good evening. Good evening, board members. Good evening, President Williams, Dr. Throsian, members of our school board, audience. I'd like to welcome you to our Wild Rose students. 3 years ago, Wild Rose splashed on to the Monrovia screen with our Schoolhouse Rock musical. Last year we had The Littlest Elf, Littlest Lost Elf. This year we had a 480 student production of A Christmas Carol. And this brings us to the spring, which is all 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students performing in Jungle Book. We'd like to give you a sample tonight of our production with our 31 members here tonight of the cast, and the directors, the technical director, our stage managers here, and of course our supportive families who are giving us the opportunity to have this program in our school with our children. So without further ado, because they're all so excited, I'd like to turn it over to our group of monkeys. And of course, Mrs. Sharon Noggle, our director, and woohoo! And Mrs. Amanda Velez Buck are also our director. All right, ladies, take it away.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities are Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the trees to make some honey just for me. You look under the rocks and plants and take a glance at the fancy ants and maybe try a few. Mere necessities of life will come to you. They'll come to you.
Oh no, Blue, do you see these tiger tracks? Chicago's near Coconut Trail. I've got to find out.
Don't you worry, Baggy. Go on ahead. Little buddy's safe with me. We won't move, but we can groove. Come on, little buddy. Let's show 'em how it's done. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the trees to make some honey just for me. You look under the rocks and plants and take a glance at the fancy ants and maybe try a few. Don't mind if I do. Yeah, the bare necessities of life will come to you. They'll come to you. Yeah, man, let go. To you. They'll come to you. The bare necessities of life. Oh, yeah.
Can we have one more round of applause for our amazing actors? Oh, the monkeys stole Mowgli at the end of the scene. All right, boys and girls, do you want to sit down right where you are for a second? There we go. Thank you, everybody. So, a bit of this performance is, of course, a commercial for May 23rd is our community fundraiser dinner and show for Jungle Book. And we passed out some flyers in the audience, and board members you'll be receiving. We also have 2 shows, the 24th and 25th, during the school day of this wonderful production, and we hope you will be there. Please join us. I'd like to take a moment, though, and recognize the hard work, because these shows just don't happen by chance. They happen with lots of work, lots of effort. After long days of teaching students, our teachers come back together and they put on these productions, and our parents. So I'm going to read off some of our staff member names. If they could come forward and join the students. Mr. Randy Medina, our technical director. Our stage manager, Miss Melissa Moore Ramirez. directors, Sharon Noggle. They stand with the kids in the limelight. And Mrs. Amanda Velez-Buck. And now for our young actors. If as I call their name, they will come out. Nicole Bedoya. Thank you. Julie Beltran. Kyle Blanco. Corey Bradley Alford. Claire Calderon. Diego Castaneda. Angelique Chavez. Kaylee Davis. Sophia Federico. Jonathan Felix. Robert Gavidia. Sidlali Gonzalez. Giselle Gonzalez. Bernice Guerrero. Mia Hunter. Gerlyn Leon. Diego Lopez. And still we have more. Stephen Hernandez. Brenda Melgard Pasquale. Ariel Michael. Ariel Michelle. Violet Moore. Phoebe Navarro Webb. No, they're shy children. Sophia Rabaya. Evan Rodriguez. Gabriel Samuta. Kylie Valentine. Evangeline Velez-Buck. Our tiniest monkey. And Miss Kaylee Zufall. Callie Zufall. Our amazing cast. May I present our students and our teachers and our den mother who keeps us wrangled together. Miss Jenny Tubbs, would you come up also? We all need a stage mom, and she's all of our mom. All right, boys and girls, we're going to stand now and take a picture. So, everybody up. There we go. And standing together. Ms. Battle, do you want to direct? Boys and girls, teachers, you're going to stay standing. Adults, students, you're going to go ahead and take a knee. One knee. There we go. That'll look nice.
Sharon. Boy. Hey, boy. Okay, you might want to get it before
Figure
she's
that out,
on.
huh, Brenda?
Okay.
I know you do. Middle name? I'm gonna stop by.
Sorry,
She told me about it today. I'm like, you can't turn that down. And a taco?
And tacos. And enchiladas.
My favorite.
All right, as soon as the kiddos leave, we can proceed with our meeting.
They were great, you guys.
Wild Rose Elementary School Drama Club.
President Williams, just as they make their way out, let me just commend not only the staff and the parents, without whom none of this could ever happen, but the entire team and Principal Miller for developing such a well-articulated arts plan.
Well said, Dr. Terosian, well said. Now moving forward to item I, which acknowledges our public comments. If you have not already completed the addressing the Board of Education form, please share that with Ms. Shoshana Huff to my right. Ms. Huff, are there any public comments for items not on the agenda?
Yes, President Williams. The first request to speak comes from Dawn Neufeld.
Mr. Garcia, can you help us with the door?
They don't bother me. I have a 5-year-old at home. I'm used to ignoring noise. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dawn Neufeld. I'm a 17-year veteran at Temple City High School and a member of the Monrovia community and a parent of a TKer in Monrovia's dual immersion program. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you again this evening. A few months ago, I was talking to some friends at a kids' party about how hard I was finding it being the parent of a spunky, energetic, intelligent 5-year-old who is too smart for my own good. I was expressing my frustrations and my fears of dropping her off every morning, wondering if there would be a shooting that day on her campus or on mine at the school where I work. I was suffering from insomnia, and my friends looked at me and they said, "Girl, you have anxiety. You need to see some counseling." And they were right. I chatted with a counselor on staff at my high school the next day to get her opinion, and she agreed with them. And I was so grateful to my friends for having identified that I was suffering from anxiety. I would never have realized that was what was going on if they hadn't spoken that truth into my life. Our kids need grown-up friends like that. They need someone who can identify for them what is happening when they are unable to access that knowledge for themselves. Those people are counselors. According to the Child Mind Institute, of the 74.5 million children in the United States, an estimated 17.1 million have or have had a psychiatric disorder. That's more than the number of children with cancer, diabetes, and AIDS combined. In spite of the magnitude of the problem, the lack of awareness and the entrenched stigma keep the majority of young people from getting help. Children and adolescents with psychiatric illness are at risk for academic failure, substance abuse, clash with authority, which often leads to discipline problems, suspensions, and expulsions. According to a study done by the Child Mind Institute, the median age of anxiety disorders begins at age 6. That's kindergarten. That's my daughter next year. Not nearly enough children have access to care. The gap between the need and the number of kids receiving help is astounding. 49.5% of American youth will have a diagnosable mental illness at some point before they turn 18. 22% have mental illness with severe impairment sometime before they're 18. 7.4% of children in the US have any mental health visits in 1 year. These kids need counselors at their school. So why a counselor? Why can't a teacher or an administrator fill in and meet these needs in all their spare time? Because counselors are trained for this need. Their training consists of, at minimum, a master's degree in school counseling, psychology, or social work. They have to obtain relevant state certification or licenses. Many have to complete an internship or practicum. They're required to renew their licenses every 3 to 5 years, and in many cases, in order to renew, counselors have to complete continuation education classes. I recognize that funding counselors is a challenge for all school districts. Last time I spoke with you, I gave you several ideas that I hope you had time to at least look at and consider. Tonight, I bring a few more. In 2015, Monrovia Unified was awarded $398,289 in grants by the U.S. Department of Education for elementary and secondary school counseling. We need a grant writer. Or if you don't want to employ someone just to write grants, add that job to a job description of someone already working in the district office. Next year, there are several literacy coaches engaged in different projects in various sites. Perhaps you could ask them to write grants for their job titles, and that would free up some money for counseling. Utilize Title I funds. Part D of Title I is dedicated to prevention and intervention programs for children and youth who are neglected, delinquent, or at risk. The purpose of Title I, Part D, is to improve educational services for children and youth so that they may have the opportunity to meet the same challenging state academic content standards and challenging state student academic achievement standards that all children in the state are expected to meet. Perhaps looking at allocating some Title I funds to our counselors might be an appropriate solution. Examine the district reserve. If it's healthy, drop it to the 3.3% minimum just for 1 year until we can find another solution. Thank you for considering these ideas. I know that you have a very challenging job deciding where money goes, but keeping our counselors is what's best for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Self, we have any additional comments for items not on the agenda?
There are none.
Do we have comments for items on the open session agenda?
There are none.
Thank you. Moving to item J, forgive me. Are there comments? Forgive me, I stand corrected. Dr. DeRosen did articulate that we are moving up L2 and 3. Moving forward, we'll entertain L2, which is a resolution agreement to join Alliance of Schools for Corporate Insurance Joint Power Authority. Ms. Wu?
Yes. Good evening, President Williams, Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Teresian, cabinet, staff, and community. Currently, the Monrovia Unified School District is a part of San Gabriel Valley School District Joint Power Authority with the neighbor school districts such as Azusa USD, Baldwin Park USD, and Glendora USD. Our GP decided to dissolve by the end of this school year. Back to February, the district sent out the RFP to looking for the new GP to join. Among all the RFP response from the experience, service provider, industrial reputation, Alliance of Schools for Cooperative Insurance Joint Power Authority distinguished itself. So tonight, I'm glad that we have Mr. Russell O'Donnell, the Chief Operation Officer, and Ms. Nancy Anderson, the Senior Director of ASCAPE Member Service, joins to tell us who they are, why the ASCAPE.
Good evening and thank you. Again, I'm Russ O'Donnell. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for ASCIP, which stands for the Alliance of Schools for Cooperative Insurance Companies. And with me is Nancy Anderson. She's our Senior Director of Membership Services. So we're here tonight to give you a brief overview of who and what ASCIP is. First of all, we're not in an insurance company. We're a not-for-profit public agency that provides risk pools for school districts throughout the state of California. We like to say that we're member-owned and member-operated. And by that I mean that the services that we provide, the coverages that we provide, are created by our members. And so we have up there that we're designed by schools for schools. And when they design these services, it's designed to provide broad limits, high limits in terms of insurance limits, and also it's real key that our rates are stable. That's why you join a pool, is that if you're going to have a loss 1 year, you want to make sure that you don't have dramatic increases in your premium the following year. So by joining a risk pool, you stabilize those rates. The other thing we do, and I think it's what we think we do best, is that we're there when bad things happen at our schools. And that means that we're there to handle claims, to hire counsel, to pay for claims when appropriate, but more importantly, we have a vast array of risk services that are geared towards preventing those bad things from happening in the first place. We have a governance. We have several governance committees. We have an executive committee. Again, these are all member schools. We have a claims committee. We have a risk services committee, a finance committee, and a membership committee. We have approximately 40 staff. We're right down the 605 in Cerritos. And we have probably 40 different vendors, third-party vendors, that help us provide the services to our school districts. We have internal claims administrators for our property and liability. You all are going to decide whether you join both our workers' comp and our P&L claims. And for workers' comp, we have an outside third-party claims administrator. So Nancy, do you want to provide a little more information?
Certainly, Russ. Thank you. As Russ indicated, we are schools that have joined together to provide insurance programs. So our programs are truly designed by the school district members. That those schools come together and they have a board that operates very similar to your board here. It's elected by the membership, so every 2 years we have an election process. The board felt it was important that each of our school members have similar representation. So as Monrovia considers joining, our school board would have representatives that would represent you on that board. And we encourage our members to get involved. So if there's an interest in your district once you join our pool to get more involved, as Russ indicated, there are a lot of operating groups that get together to help drive the organization and the resources. And so we do encourage our members to get involved with that. The board felt it was important that we be financially strong so that the claims can be paid when they do occur. We don't want to ever go back to members and say we don't have sufficient funds to be able to pay those claims. So we do have sufficient funds in place to pay all of our claims that should arise, but when there is more funds than are needed, we do rebate those back to the members, and we have done so. Over the past 10 years, we have rebated $26 million back to the membership because we're a nonprofit agency. We're not retaining funds for any kind of bottom line. We only want the funds that are needed to take care of our members' needs. We are only California public schools. Our members are located throughout the entire state of California. We provide all lines of coverage that school districts need. And as Russ pointed out, we try to have a minimal number of staff to meet the needs of our school district members. This chart here that we have shows you the types of school district members that we have. Most of our school district members are in our property liability program, and most of them are similar to Monrovia. They're K-12 school districts or K-8s, with most of our members being located in the LA and Orange County areas. Now, we do have other members within our organization that are part of our health benefits program as well. As Russ pointed out, it is our school districts that are looking for the coverage to meet their needs. So they do want to make sure that we have broad limits, high limits, but they also are looking for creating unique coverage that is unique to schools. And some of those unique coverages include our 911 coverage. We recognize that many times there's a hesitation to call for emergency services when an accident occurs because who's going to pay that bill? We want our members and their communities to be taken care of. So when an accident occurred, we say if there is no other coverage in place to pay that bill, ASCIP will pick it up. That's our 911 coverage. We want to make sure that first aid needs are taken care of on your campuses. The next line of coverage above that, we recognize that many of our families and our communities do not have sufficient medical coverage when those accidents occur at school. They may have high deductible plans or gaps in their coverage. And so we began offering a student accident coverage in which ASCIP will pay for the medical costs for an accident that occurs at school, regardless of who's at fault. Because again, we're looking for what are the needs of our school district members. So we're constantly looking for ways to support the membership with our insurance programs. We partner with our school districts on our workers' comp programs because we're aware that you need your teachers, you need your staff to be in the classrooms, in the kitchens, providing the services. And so when there's been workplace injuries that occur, that disrupts your educational programs. So we really partner with our school districts to provide resources to, first of all, prevent the injuries, but then second, to get them back into the workplace as quickly as possible. So Russ?
And I had mentioned before, with most of our members, finances are a critical issue. And our commitment to our members is that we make sure that our rates each year are competitive and that the rates are stable. So I just wanted to show you for the past 10 years on our property and liability program, the average increase has been 1.85% per year over those 10 years. You'll see that there's been a couple years where there's been a decrease. So again, stable rates are really important for our members. And on the workers' comp side, you can just see what the rates have been for the last 10 years. Again, fairly stable throughout the whole 10-year range. And the last 2 years, there's been a decrease in our workers' compensation rates.
We try to partner with our members looking at your specific goals, your needs. We try to provide the support services where you need them, whether it be in the area of transportation, whether it be in athletics. We look at your lost trends to see where they might be occurring. If they're at a specific location, we're going to provide you resources, safety audits, to look at those facilities, to see what's taking place. If we're finding you've got some vulnerabilities possibly in your contracts, we're going to partner with you to review those contracts and tighten up that language there. Whether it's in your hiring issues, we're going to look at what are the goals of your district as well to be able to provide the support services exactly where you need them and to address the lost trends that are occurring. Schools come to ASCIP because it is schools, helping schools, communicating together, sharing resources, learning from each other, creating safer schools. That's our ultimate goal. We are committed to providing broad coverage with stable premiums year after year so that it doesn't impact your budgets. We do want to continue to work with each and every member to determine what your specific needs are. And again, one of the most important thing is when we're collecting those premiums, it's not going to a bottom line. We are a nonprofit public agency just as you are. So we're responsible to our constituents just as you are. And our constituents are our school district members. So we really would welcome you to join our program and our pool. You would be a great asset to our membership. So with that, I'd like to open it up if you have any questions for us.
Any questions or comments regarding the resolution?
I had a question on the student insurance. I think it said it was $15,000. I'm not sure if that was per incident or coverage for the year. Or
Yes, no, it's per student per injury. So
so I was thinking, does that include athletics? So
Yes.
ambulance trips and any other slip and falls?
you fall
might
off the monkey bars, we'll pay. It is excess of other insurance, but as Nancy said, a lot of our member students maybe on Medicare or whatever. So it would be primary in those situations. It is $15,000 in medical cost. For football, it's $10,000, but for all other athletics, it's $15,000. And it's been, I think we added this 2 years ago, and it's been a huge success and greatly appreciated by our members.
Great. I know I could have used it for my kids a couple times.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. Mr. Ritz, Mr. Gilliland? All right. Am I entertaining a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Moving forward, Ms. Fu, we want to entertain a resolution agreement to join the schools excess liability fund, a joint exercise of the powers agreement.
Yes, President William, as a member of the ASCIP require all the member also join the SELF, which is the school excess liability fund as a excess liability coverage above $5 million because ASCIP only cover limit to the $5 million.
It's like our sister agency. It takes the coverage on liability from $5 million per occurrence up to $55 million.
Questions or comments?
Why are they not the same policy? If it's the same agency, why isn't just
No,
lumped
it's a
into
sister. It's actually a separate joint powers authority, and they operate as an excess over the primary insurance that ASCIP provides.
Is this JPA, do they have a different member base?
They have certain members that are different. They probably have 500 educational agencies throughout the state. We have 145. But they're an excess insurer, and so it's kind of a different business because of they're mainly involved with high dollar claims. But they follow form with our underlying coverage.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
But all 145 of your members are members of that also?
Correct, it's mandatory.
Okay.
Since it's mandatory, I guess I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff, and thank you also for attending and your appeal as well.
Well, thank you, and we look forward to working with you, and especially with Connie. She's been wonderful to work with.
Yeah, she is wonderful to work with. That indeed she is. Moving forward to the informational reports and presentations. This is one of the favorite part of my items tonight. Mr. Garcia, will you grace the podium for us, sir?
And as Mr. Garcia makes his way towards the podium, let me publicly apologize to Stephen and his mom. Should have moved you guys up, but we'll need you and I believe Shannon Fitzpatrick to help us.
Also like to recognize the likes of Mr. Patrick, my new buddy in the back there, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, board members. Thank you very much for having us tonight. Good evening, Dr. Tarosian and Cabinet. We are here tonight because there have been some amazing paintings that have been created here by our artist in residence, Shannon Fitzpatrick. And so I'm going to turn the microphone over to her. I promised her that I would be brief. I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to hear from her tonight. So, Shannon Fitzpatrick.
All right. It is my pleasure to be here and to be able to talk to the board and let you know just how much progress we have made in the last few years and how things are expanding, including a partnership with the Huntington Library to make the visual arts even bigger and better. in Monrovia. I have a very special guest that's going to talk to you for just a few minutes, but this is our 5th year that we are celebrating. We started out 5 years ago to make the visual arts alive and well in the Monrovia Unified School District. Dr. Sue Kaiser and Dr. Thorosian and Patrick Garcia took me out to lunch and wined and dined me and said, "We know you've retired, but is there any way that we can get you to come and work with our students and reproduce famous masterpiece murals on the school walls?" And fortunately, I was thrilled to do it. So the first 3 years, we did life-size paintings, reproductions of masterpiece paintings, including Blue Boy. Looks just like him, is the same size as the one in the original at the Huntington. And then the last 2 years, we have moved inside, and we have done these indoor murals. This year, we have finished 15 of these paintings that are authentic looking to the originals that the students worked from. There are 3 paintings, there's 3, so 5th grade for an example, there are 3 classrooms of 5th graders at most of the schools, and a couple of them are in 4th grades. And each class does one of these paintings. So when we're talking about Mayflower, and my friend Stefan is from Mayflower, there are 3 of the paintings here, 1 for each of the 3 classes. And we were thrilled to hear that maybe they would, Dr. Thorosian would like to have these put up here in the boardroom a few weeks ago for the chamber mixer, and it turned out to be something really special. My husband came, fortunately, and hung the paintings and put the lights over the top of them so that it does look just like a museum gallery. So the program has expanded from just the paintings, and then it expanded to field trips. The Boone Foundation, that is involved with the Huntington Library, as you probably know. The Boone Foundation sponsors these activities, and we decided, since quite a few of the paintings that we reproduce, the originals are at the Huntington. So they sponsored the fact that we could take a field trip, buses, and teachers and parents to the Huntington for the last 2 years to see the original paintings. They have docents. The children are divided into groups of 10s, and docents come and take them around. And since then, the Boones have also sponsored us so that every summer, as soon as school is out, every family of every child that painted on these paintings receives a free pass for the entire summer for their whole family to go to the Huntington Library and see all of their marvelous things that they have to do there. So things have expanded, and they're getting better every year. So I have a very special student here. I want to introduce Stefan Bank to you. He will tell you what grade he is in and what school he is from, and he will tell you this is what he has written is the essence of the program. This is really what we set out to do and what we see happening.
Hi, my name is Stefan Bank. I am a 4th grader in Mr. Owen's class at Mayflower Elementary School. In Monrovia, the students are learning to appreciate and reproduce famous masterpiece paintings. The 14 pieces of art on display in this room were painted by the 4th and 5th graders from Monrovia Unified School District. Visual images help me to understand the nation's history and the lives of the people who made it. As we learn the background of the various artists, their lives also became part of the artwork. Soon I learned painting skills such as mixing colors to correctly reproduce chosen pieces of art. When we painted it, it made me feel happy. Moving my body to learn through drawing helped me learn. Moving allowed me to feel less stressed, and I was eager to learn more.
It gave me the opportunity to get to know my friends better because we did it together, and it encouraged me to take my time to finish. I felt smart when we were done. My class and I went on a cool field trip to the Huntington Library and Art Collections Museum, where docents met us and took us on tours of the buildings where the original works of art were on display. It was so much fun. When we saw the quill painting that we drew, we all went, ooh, ah, that's the real thing. The docents were like our teachers at school. They taught us the importance of art during the time period it represented. They asked us questions and gave us time to answer. I was surprised to find out that the 3 paintings and quilts that were at the museum, 2 were created by unknown artists. Art programs like this are exactly what me and my friends and I need in school. I hope we can do a project again next year.
Stefan, very, very well said. Thank you very much. I just want to add to what Shannon Fitzpatrick said. So over these last 5 years, she has helped 2,000 students to experience art masterpieces. Dr. Tarosian said when she came to Monrovia that she wanted the art to be physical and visible in Monrovia. So we now have 46 art masterpieces around the city of Monrovia, thanks to Shannon Fitzpatrick. So Stefan, yes. Stefan, please come up. I'd like to thank Stefan Bank on behalf of Monrovia Unified School District for his contribution to making it more beautiful and to loving the arts. Congratulations.
Stefan, ooh, ah. Ms. Fitzpatrick, I just wanted you to know something before you leave that no, I'm an old school Southerner. You can talk as long as you want. I'll wait on you. No, but during our joint session with the city council and the school district, the mayor had solicited entertaining these pictures at the chamber, at city chamber. They were so excited. But of course, he needs to get directions from Dr. Tarosian and Patrick Garcia. But we had considered sending them over during the summer. But again, those are the directives of our wonderful superintendent. But I just wanted you to know that. And on a personal note, I think you are such a classy lady. I say it all the time. Now I got permission to say it because Mr. Fitzpatrick said it was okay. But you are really an asset to our entire district. You truly are. I enjoyed the opportunity to sit with you and Dr. Tarosian along with Mary Lou and Nick Boone and Louise. And I have the picture on Facebook. I got a few likes from some of the dioceses. But you truly are an asset, and I'm so glad that they convinced you to come out of retirement. So thank you very much. And Mr. Fitzpatrick, yeah, that's true. Thank you for allowing lending your wife to us. And Mr. Ooh, ah, you're the man. Perfect presentation. Thank you, Mom. And thank you, Mr. Garcia, for all the excellent work you do on behalf of the Monrovia Unified School District. Arts is a necessity. Next, we want to move to the student attendance report. Mr. Wu, Miss Wu, would you direct us, please?
Yeah. Sure, good evening again. March 23rd is our school district attendance calendar 8th month. And at that end of the month, we will provide a cumulative P2 attendance report submitted to the county. That report is critical because it will determine the revenue we will generate from next school years. So at the end of March 23rd, from the first day of school, which is middle of the August, our 17-18 school year P2 attendance at 5,290 and 0.07. So compared with previous years, it was around 888 decrease. Of course, the part of reason is because of the decline in enrollment. This chart will trace back over the 10 years period, so give the board picture over the last 10 years due to the decline in enrollment, and majority of school years decline enrollment, so our ADA will be less compared with previous year. And out of this 11 years, board can see that except school year 11 to 12 and 13-14, all the other years are declined. And 13-14 is a unique year because the district take over SELPA classes. So that's a part of reason that year the enrollment increase. The second slide indicate that our attendance ratio. So enrollment is the number of students we have, and attendance is whether the students come to the school every day. So the state fund as the number of the days school attend. So this year we experienced that attendance ratio is lower than last year, and specifically the after the holiday from February, March, and because of the flu season, so the kids are less attend school because we do not want the sick kids impact other students. So the district office, we will work together with the student service and put up some plan to work with the site administrator how we increase attendance move forward to next year. It's not only increase the instruction minutes for our students, but also generate additional funding for the school district.
Any questions about the P2 attendance or comments? Thank you, Ms. Wu.
Thank you.
Moving forward to the consent agenda, consisting of 18 routine items of business placed on the consent agenda, which have been carefully screened by the members of the staff and will be acted upon by the board with one motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Ms. Huff.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Item L, Dr. Kaiser would entertain the cognitively guided instructions, the cohort plan and steps agreement with Coatson Foundation.
Yes, indeed. The board is requested to ratify a 2-year cognitively guided instruction cohort plan and steps agreement with the Coatson Foundation for Cognitively Guided Instruction, CGI, from May 2018 to June 2019. The Coatson Foundation has been actively working with the Monrovia Unified School District for the past 2 years. They've been present in Brad Oaks School and in Wild Rose School. And they've been working with 3 processes in our elementary schools in reading, writing, and in math. As we looked at our data and we saw that persistently our English language learners are having difficulty with math, and the new math standards are highly dependent on language, the cognitively guided instruction program deals mainly with the oral language of math and the writing of explaining mathematical processes and concepts. And so this is an agreement with the Coatson Foundation whereby they have a matching grant program, and they will be providing over the next 2 years an additional $19,000. And the district will be contributing $31,000 through our Title III funding that is to be used with our English language learners over the next 2 years to train all of the teachers in our upper grade classrooms at all 5 elementary schools.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Kaiser or comments?
I'll just say that Coatson's been a great program, and I think it's a wonderful thing for our teachers that are benefiting from it. And I'll make the motion.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. MUSD school calendar for 2018-19 and 2019-20. Dr. Jackson, please.
Yes, Board President Williams. I just learned moments ago from MTA President Ann Battle, who's sitting here with us today. They are still in the process of counting ballots, and so we would like for them to be able to continue that process and let it run its course. And so I'd like to pull the agenda item and bring it back for the next board meeting.
So noted. Any comments from the board?
Just one quick question, just for my calendaring purposes. I assume that if that start date for next school year is approved, we would have the new teacher breakfast about a week before that?
Yes. We have approved the start date.
Okay,
yes.
so it'll be a week before that start date. Great.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Moving forward, consider readmission of expulsion case number 1617-12. Mr. Gitterland.
I move that expulsion case number 1617-12. Oh, all right. I'll try that again. Microphone on. It's off. Now it's on. We getting this? Okay, finally. I move that expulsion case number 1617-12, student number 111106543, who has satisfactorily completed the prescribed rehabilitation plan, be readmitted to the Monrovia Unified School District in accordance with Ed Code Section 48916.
Second.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Pending board issues, Dr. DeRosian, Dr. DeRosian will receive the Board of Education status information on identified tasks and review issues of interest for future attention. Forgive me for butchering that up, Dr. DeRosian.
Thank you, President Williams. Just as a quick note with our, we do have the Village Program Informational Report coming to us during the next board meeting, and hope to have an update for you through CELC.
Thank you, Dr. DeRosian. Old business clearly acknowledges the May 17th joint PC and Board of Education, and of course our regular Board of Education meeting on the 23rd. A new business is the Superstars of Music Showcase on May the 10th at Monrovia High School. I understand that starts at 6:30. And of course the SELPA prom at 11 o'clock at Monrovia High School, which I'm looking forward to attend. And of course the PQ graduation May the 15th at 6:30 at Plymouth Elementary School. There are of course Monrovia Days and the festivities involved starts on the 18th to the 20th at Library Park. Of course, the festivities starts at 9, which includes a dignitary breakfast at 8, and which proceeds rather. And then, of course, the parade will be at 10 o'clock, which we're very excited about. The Memorial Day, all sites will be closed on the 28th. Open house is at Santa Fe on the 24th at 6 p.m. And before we reconvene the closed session, we would like to close in honor of our Mayflower principal, Michelle Costarellos, her father, Robert Nail, who passed recently. We will adjourn to reconvene the closed session at 8:37.
Thank you to all.